Hello, and thank you for viewing this video on the do's and don'ts of reviewing your school district audited financial statements. As a school district, you likely contract with your independent CPA firm to assist with the preparation of your financial statements as a non-attest service performed in addition to the audit. This video will provide guidance on how management can fulfill its responsibilities and take an active role in the preparation and review of the financial statements prior to issuance. Your district has just received a draft copy of the financial statements from your audit firm. Let us first discuss what the district should do. Has anyone ever been assigned a new role or task and had no idea how the person before you completed it? To ensure processes are executed effectively, it is important to establish procedures and document them in writing. The financial statement review process is no different. The procedures established should identify who is to be involved in the financial statement review, and what information each person or department is responsible for reviewing. This slide contains the individuals or departments the district should consider making a part of the review team and the suggested information they be involved in preparing or reviewing. Once the draft is distributed to the review team, a point person should ensure each member of the team has a clear understanding of how and what they are to review, with a timeline for the completion of the review. All additions, proposed changes, and questions should be submitted to the point person where they can be communicated back to the auditor. An in-person meeting or conference call to discuss the district's review of the draft could be scheduled as well if the district would determine it to be beneficial. The financial statement document itself can be very lengthy, as it is required to contain various elements as outlined by GASB within the financial reporting standards, or by awarding agencies such as ASBO International to be eligible to participate in excellence in financial reporting award programs. For this reason, it is heavily advised that the use of a financial statement checklist is incorporated into the district's review procedures. This checklist could be developed internally, or the district could request a checklist like the one on this slide from your audit firm to assist in reviewing the report for the required elements. A key part of a financial statement review is agreeing the amounts reported within the financial statements and notes to the underlying information of your school district. In the area of assets, this slide provides some examples of items a district will likely want to include within the review. An example of the review of an asset account includes agreeing the amounts reported on the statement of net position and in the capital asset note to the supporting schedules and reports provided by the district to the auditor for capital assets. This slide includes example of items in the area of liabilities that a school district should strongly consider including in the scope of the financial statement review. An example of how one of these items would be executed is as follows. The district should agree the amount reported as accounts payable, construction contracts payable, and accrued payroll payable to the total of the payments processed after June 30th for goods, services, and employee time worked prior to June 30th. These amounts are processed on what we often refer to as encumbrance vouchers. A significant number of adjusting journal entries posted by the auditors during financial statement preparation involve the creation of balance sheet accounts, such as assets and liabilities that we have discussed already. Although the offsets to some of these entries may involve revenue and expenditure accounts, primarily certain revenue accruals, there are a more limited number of entries involving operating statement accounts. For this reason, the district should be able to compare revenues and expenditures reported within the fund financial statements to amounts reported in the general ledger and on the AFR. Be mindful that revenues on the financial statements will be collapsed by source, for example, property taxes, state revenue, federal revenue, and expenditures will be reported by governmental function, for example, instruction, support services, with capital outlay and debt service expenditures broken out separately. One thing I recommend districts do as part of the financial statement review is review and trace all of the financial activity from at least one fund from the general ledger provided to the auditors to the fund as presented in the audited financial statements to gain a better understanding of the process and how the general ledger, audit adjustments, and financial statements fit together. The food service fund may be a good fund to start with, as this fund typically has several audit adjustments posted to it. This slide contains the balance sheet for the food service fund for an example school district. Audit adjustments would be proposed and provided to the district with the draft to record asset and liabilities not recorded on the general ledger from source documents you provided to your auditor. An example of an item you may see related to the food service fund includes a receivable from the federal government related to the Child Nutrition Cluster program for operating a summer feeding program. This is an example operating statement for the food service fund. As was mentioned previously, revenues and expenditures are collapsed by source or reported by function and should be compared to the general ledger. This slide provides an illustration of how the accounts reported on the financial statement can be mapped to the revenues and expenditures coded in the general ledger in accordance with the mandated chart of accounts for Arizona school districts. Be sure to review this slide further to be able to better crosswalk the GL accounts to the financial statement line items. Now that we have discussed some important do's to incorporate into your financial statement review process, let's discuss a few things you should not do. First, don't wait until the last minute to get your auditors what they need to draft your financial statements, as you are likely cutting into the time you will need to perform an adequate review. If the timelines for review are too compressed, you may not have the time and resources needed to perform a thorough review, which could result in the consideration by your auditor of the need to report some type of deficiency in internal control in this area. Calling your auditor 30 minutes after receiving the draft could be an indication that a thorough review was not performed. Additionally, please do not be afraid to ask questions. This is an indication to your auditor that you are indeed performing a review. And lastly, the purpose of the review is not to validate every single amount or word within the report or to redo all of the work that you outsourced. Focus your review on the significant amounts and disclosures and on presentation and other changes that are the result of newly implemented reporting standards. This concludes the content portion of the video presentation. If you have any questions or would like to discuss any of this information further, please do not hesitate to contact me at sara.kirk@heinfeldmeach.com. Thank you.